Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talk Olivia. I am so happy you're here with us today. Whether you're listening on your commute, relaxing at home, or sneaking in some English practice during your lunch break, we see you, and we're so glad you showed up.
Hey, great to be here with you all again. Before we started recording today, we were actually having a really deep conversation off camera, and it turned into today's topic, which I think is going to hit differently for a lot of people.
It really will. So, I was reading something recently about a nurse, a palliative care nurse. That means a nurse who works with people who are very sick, often near the end of their lives. And she spent years asking those patients one question: What do you regret most?
And the answers she collected were so powerful, so human. They weren't about money or careers or status. They were about things people wish they had done differently in the time they had. And we thought this is a conversation we have to bring to Talk Olivia.
So, today we're going to talk about the biggest regrets people have in old age. But here's the thing, this isn't a sad episode. This is actually one of the most hopeful topics we could talk about, because if we know what people regret at the end, we can make different choices right now.
And as you listen, you're going to practice some really useful English vocabulary and expressions. Words like regret, wish, if only, I should have, very natural, very common in everyday conversation.
Here's your first question for the comments, and we really want to hear from you. Is there something small you've been putting off lately? Something you keep saying, I'll do it later? Tell us in the comments. You don't have to share anything big, even something small.
And before we dive in, please hit that subscribe button right now on Talk Olivia. New episodes every week. You don't want to miss them. Okay, let's get into this conversation because it is such a good one.
All right, let's start with the English, because today's topic is full of really important vocabulary and grammar that you'll use all the time in real conversations. And the first thing we need to understand is the language of regret.
So, what does regret mean exactly? Regret is the feeling you have when you wish something in the past had been different. You made a choice or you didn't make a choice, and now, looking back, you wish it had gone another way.
And in English, we express regret in a few very specific ways. The most common structure is I wish I had or I wish I hadn't. For example, I wish I had spent more time with my family, or I wish I hadn't worked so much.
Here are a few more examples to really make it stick. I wish I had told her how much I loved her. I wish I hadn't stayed in that job for so long. I wish I had traveled when I had the chance. Do you notice the pattern? It's always I wish plus I had or hadn't plus past participle.
Another very natural way to express regret is I should have or I shouldn't have. These are also really common. I should have been braver. I should have said yes. I shouldn't have cared so much about what other people thought.
And then there's the phrase if only. This one is a little more emotional, a little more intense. People say, if only I had more time. If only I had listened to my heart. If only I had reached out to him before it was too late.
One phrase I hear a lot is I could have. That's slightly different from I should have. I should have means I know it was the right thing to do and I didn't do it. I could have means I had the ability, the opportunity, and I didn't use it.
Great distinction. For example, I could have studied abroad, but I was too scared. That means the opportunity was there. I should have studied abroad means I now believe it would have been the right decision. Both are expressing regret, but with slightly different emphasis.
Can you try one? Think of something small, not something painful, just something ordinary, and try to form a sentence using I wish I had or I should have. Say it out loud right now. Don't worry about it being perfect.
Maybe something like, I wish I had learned to cook earlier, or I should have started exercising in my 20s. Simple, everyday things. The grammar is the same whether the regret is big or small.
And remember, these structures work in conversations too, not just when you're being deep and reflective. You might say to a friend, I should have brought an umbrella, or I wish I had ordered the pasta instead. It's the same grammar in a very ordinary moment.
So to recap this section, the key structures are I wish I had, I wish I hadn't, I should have, I shouldn't have, I could have, and if only. These are your tools for talking about regret, big or small, in natural English.
Now, let's talk about what people actually regret, because when you hear these, you might recognize some of them in your own life. And that's the whole point. This is where the English meets real human experience.
So the number one regret that comes up again and again across cultures, across countries, across generations is this. I wish I had lived a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
Wow, that one is heavy. What does it mean to live a life true to yourself? It means making choices based on what you genuinely want, what you value, what makes you feel alive, not based on what your parents wanted or what society expected or what looked impressive to other people.
And in English, we have some great expressions for this. To follow your heart, to stay true to yourself, to live on your own terms, to march to the beat of your own drum. That last one's a bit more idiomatic. It means to live or behave according to your own rules, not what everyone else is doing.
I love that one, and the opposite would be to live for other people's approval or to let fear make your decisions. Those are the things people regret.
The second really common regret, and this one surprised me when I first heard it, is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This came up especially from people who had spent most of their adult lives focused on their careers, and in old age, they felt they had missed their children growing up. They missed moments with their partners. They missed just being present.
And this isn't saying that work is bad or ambition is wrong. It's about balance. It's about asking, what am I choosing to prioritize? And being honest about whether that choice aligns with what you truly value.
A third regret, and this one is really interesting for our English learners, is I wish I had had the courage to express my feelings. People go through their whole lives without telling someone they love them, without telling a friend how much they mean to them, without standing up and saying, this is not okay.
And in English, there are so many ways to express feelings that people don't use enough. I really appreciate you. You mean a lot to me. I'm proud of you. I was hurt by what happened, and I needed to say that. These phrases seem simple, but they take courage.
Here's a practice prompt for you. Think of one person in your life, friend, family member, a colleague, and think of one thing you've never said to them but you want to. You don't have to send it, just write it in English in the comments. Practice the language of the heart.
First, name the person in your mind. Second, think of what you feel. Third, put it into one of these structures. I want you to know that, or I've always felt that, or I'm really grateful for. See, you already have the tools.
And the fourth common regret is I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Life gets busy, we move, we change jobs, we start families, and slowly the people who meant everything to us drift away. Not because of any fight or reason, just because life moved fast and we let time pass.
So the English lesson here is also a life lesson. Don't wait for the perfect moment to reach out. You could send a message right now. Hey, I was thinking about you. That's it. 4 words. It costs nothing.
So in this section, we talked about 4 big regrets. Not living true to yourself, working too hard and missing life, not expressing your feelings, and losing touch with the people you love. All of these are connected by one thing. They're all about the choices we make with our time and our hearts.
Okay, so we've covered the deep stuff. Now let's talk about something really practical. How do you actually use this language in real everyday conversation? Because talking about regret doesn't always have to be serious and heavy.
Right. You can have a totally light, casual conversation using all of this language. Like, ugh, I should have ordered the pizza. I'm not even enjoying this salad. That's regret, just a very low-stakes version of it.
Exactly. So let's look at how tone changes the same sentence. Take the phrase, I wish I had. In a casual conversation with a friend, it might sound like, ugh, I wish I had taken the earlier train. Now I'm late. Very light, very natural.
But the same structure in a deeper conversation sounds like, I wish I had been there for my dad more when he was sick. Same grammar, completely different emotional weight. And both are correct. Both are natural.
This is actually really important for learners to understand. English is incredibly context sensitive. The same words can be casual or profound, depending on the situation, your tone of voice, your facial expression.
Here's a great tip for sounding more natural when talking about regret. Native English speakers often soften regrets by adding phrases like, but that's life, or, but I don't dwell on it anymore, or, I'm at peace with it now. These phrases show emotional maturity and sound very natural.
For example, I should have traveled more in my 20s, but life had other plans. Or, I should have studied harder, but honestly, I don't dwell on it anymore. I'm happy with where I ended up.
Those additions make you sound so natural. They show that you can reflect on the past without being stuck in it. And that's a really mature, fluent way to use the language.
Now, let's do a little mini practice. I'll say something and you respond in the comments or just say it out loud. Okay, here we go. Do you have any regrets about how you learned English? How would you answer that using our structures?
Maybe something like, I wish I had started speaking earlier instead of just studying grammar. Or, I should have watched more English shows when I was younger, but better late than never. That last phrase, better late than never, is a really useful idiom. It means it's better to do something late than to do it never.
I love that one. Better late than never. Say it out loud a few times. Better late than never. It's one of those phrases that comes up all the time, and it's really easy to use. You could say, I finally called my old friend. Better late than never.
So in this section, we talked about how to adjust the tone of regret language, from casual to deep. We learned phrases that soften regret in conversation, and we picked up the idiom better late than never. And the key reminder, the same grammar works at every level of emotion.
All right, let's talk about mistakes. And again, I made every single one of these when I was learning, so please, no embarrassment. These are just really common patterns.
Mistake number one, and this is so common, is using the wrong verb form after I wish. Learners often say, I wish I worked harder when I was young, but that's actually not quite right for expressing regret about the past.
The correct version is, I wish I had worked harder when I was young. You need the past participle, had worked, to talk about something you wish had been different in the past. I wish I worked harder sounds like you're talking about right now, like you wish you currently worked harder.
So the rule is, for past regrets, always use I wish plus had plus past participle. I wish I had studied. I wish I had gone. I wish I had said something. Past perfect, every time.
Mistake number two, confusing I regret doing with I regret to do. These sound similar, but they mean completely different things. I regret telling her the secret means I told her the secret and now I'm sorry about it. The regret is about a past action.
But I regret to tell you this means I'm about to say something and I'm sorry in advance. It's used in formal situations, often in letters or professional settings, like, we regret to inform you that your application was unsuccessful. Very different meaning, very different context.
So remember, I regret doing something is about the past. I regret to do something is about right now, in a formal context. Mixing these up can really change your meaning.
Mistake number three, overusing the word regret in casual conversation. In everyday speech, people don't actually say, I regret that often. It sounds a little stiff, a little formal. Instead, we usually say, I really wish I had, or I should have, or I can't believe I didn't.
For example, instead of saying, I regret not calling him, in a casual conversation, you'd more naturally say, I really wish I'd called him, or I can't believe I didn't call him. It flows better. It sounds more human.
And mistake number four, saying I wish I would have instead of I wish I had. This is a very common error, even among advanced learners. I wish I would have gone. That's not standard. The correct form is I wish I had gone.
Why? Because wish already carries the idea of unreality, of something that didn't happen. You don't need would in there. It creates a double conditional that's grammatically awkward. Just stick with I wish I had.
So, to wrap up the mistakes, use past perfect after I wish for past regrets, know the difference between regret doing and regret to do, use natural spoken alternatives to the word regret, and always say I wish I had, not I wish I would have.
Interactive practice. Time for some practice. Let's make this fun. I'm going to give you a situation and you choose the better sentence. Say your answer out loud or write it in the comments.
Here we go.
Situation 1. Your friend worked nonstop for 20 years and never took a vacation. Now he's older and looking back. Which sentence sounds more natural? A. I regret to not take a vacation. Or B. I wish I had taken more vacations.
Option B, right? I wish I had taken, past perfect. And regret to not take is both grammatically wrong and unnatural in spoken English.
Situation 2, you're in a formal meeting and you have to deliver disappointing news. Which do you say? A, I wish I hadn't told you this, or B, I regret to inform you of this.
Option B here, I regret to inform you, is the correct formal phrase for delivering bad news professionally. I wish I hadn't told you means something totally different, that you're sorry you already said something.
Situation 3. You and a friend are casually talking about life choices. You didn't travel in your 20s and you wish you had. Which sounds more natural? A, I regret my lack of travel in my youth, or B, I really should have traveled more when I was younger, but better late than never.
Option B, absolutely. It's warm, it's natural, it's conversational. Option A sounds like a formal essay, great for writing, not great for chatting with a friend.
Now here's your creative challenge. Write your own sentence in the comments using one of these structures. I wish I had, I should have, or if only. Make it about anything. English learning, a hobby, a trip, anything at all.
And remember, we're not looking for perfect sentences, we're looking for brave ones. The sentence you actually write is infinitely better than the perfect sentence you never type.
We have made it to the end of today's episode, and honestly, this one felt really special to record. I hope it felt that way to listen to as well.
Let's quickly go over what we covered today. First, we learned the key language of regret. I wish I had, I should have, I could have, if only, all with the past perfect for talking about the past.
Second, we explored the most common regrets people have: not living authentically, working too much, not expressing feelings, and losing touch with people they loved. Each one was a language lesson and a life lesson at the same time.
And third, we learned how to talk about regret naturally, how to soften it in conversation, how to use idioms like better late than never, and how to adjust your tone depending on the situation.
And here's the thing I want you to take away from today. Every regret that people carry in old age points to something: a relationship, a dream, a moment of courage they didn't take. And the beautiful thing is, if you're watching this right now, you still have time.
So here's our final reflective question for you. Think about your future self, the version of you that is much older, looking back at today. What would that version of you want you to do more of? Write it in the comments. We genuinely want to know.
And if today's episode made you think or helped your English or both, please give it a like. Share it with a friend who might need to hear it. Subscribe to Talk Olivia right now so you never miss a new episode. Every week we bring you real conversations, real English, and real topics that matter.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. You are doing something brave every time you press play on a video like this. You're choosing to grow. Don't ever take that lightly. We'll be right here every week cheering you on.
Take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and don't wait too long to do the things that matter.
We'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep going, keep speaking, and remember, better late than never. See you next time.